Okay, now we're going to go over point slope form. So turn to page 3A in your new Chapter 5 packet, and let's look at number 1. Number 1 says, write the point slope form of the equation of the line through the given point with the given slope. So they give us a point of -4, -1, and a slope of 1. And they want us to put it into the point slope form. Now notice they're giving us a point and a slope, so it's going to be easy to go into point slope form. A point slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. So we label our point x sub 1, y sub 1. We know our slope, and now all we do is substitute. So I say y minus y sub 1 is -1 equals 1 times x minus x sub 1 is -4. Now y minus -1 is y plus 1, and x minus -4 is x plus 4. And we're done. Okay? Now let's try number 2. So number 2 says the point is 2, 5, and the slope is 3/2. Start out again by writing the point slope form, which is y minus y sub 1 equals m times, this is just m times x minus x sub 1. This is x sub 1, y sub 1. So I do y minus y sub 1 is 5 equals 3/2 times x minus x sub 1 is 2. And I'm done. Okay? So now we're going to jump down to 7, because this is a different type of problem. And they actually give us the graph, and they ask us to write the point slope form of the equation from that graph. So now what I need to do first is I look at the graph and I have to figure out what that point is. Well, that point is -2, 5. So I write -2, 5. Now I have to figure out what the other point is. And the other point is 0, -4. So I write 0, -4. So I have 2 different points. And at this juncture, I can do it one of 2 ways. I have 2 points and I can find the slope. So let's use the slope formula and do it that way. Label this x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. And I'm going to say y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, and I get -9/2. Now I have 2 points and a slope. So with 2 points and a slope, all I have to do is pick one point and cross the other one out. And now this is my x sub 1, y sub 1, and I say y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Now I just plug in y sub 1 is 5, and x sub 1 is -2, so that's going to be x plus 2. And that would be the equation in point slope form. Now, the other thing I could have done is actually counted on the sheet. And I could have said, I'll start at this point, I'm going to count down 9 in a negative direction, over 2 in a positive direction, and I could have gotten the slope by counting. Okay, now we're going to turn to page 3B, and we're going to do number 11. Number 11 says, given the point slope form of the equation, identify the slope of the line, and a point on the line. So now they're actually giving us the equation, and they want us to identify the point. Okay? So, this is a little tricky because you have to remember this is y sub 1 and this is x sub 1. I think when people first look at this, they might be tempted to say the point is -5, -4. But that would be wrong because this is a y and this is an x. Then people would be tempted to say, oh, I know, it's -4, -5. Well, they're getting closer, but remember, the formula says y minus y sub 1. So, if this is y minus y sub 1 would be +5, and x sub 1 would be +4. So when you're identifying your point, you have to remember, do this one first, do the opposite sign of what you see. So this would be 4, and the opposite sign of this would be 5. So the point would be 4, 5, the slope would be 5/4. So let's do 12. Okay, so it is y plus 4 equals 1/4 times x plus 4. Now, I'm going to remember to do this one first, then this one. The opposite of what I see is -4. The opposite of what I see is -4. And the slope is 1/4. Okay? Now, because I think this is a little tricky, let's do a few more. So number 13, I don't like 13, so, well, I'll do 13. Y, now it says nothing, so I'm going to write y minus 0 equals -2 times x minus 2. So I do the opposite of what I see here, and what I see here is -2, so I write 2. Now before I wrote 0 there, I didn't see anything, right? It was just a y. So you could say, you could either write y minus 0, or you could say, what do I see here next to the y? And I say, I see nothing. And how do we describe nothing in math? And we say 0. Okay, and now number 14, y plus 5 equals -9/4 x minus 4. I do the opposite of what I see here first, the opposite of what I see here, and m equals -9/4. Okay, so we are done with that now.